Saturday night live with Clive, and today I'm bringing up two of my favorite things. When I think of America and the greatness that it's achieved, one of the really true great American inventions was a system called Muzak. And I got to tell you, Muzak. The way you got to look at Muzak is, yes, a lot of people said it was a cult. A lot of people said it was brainwashing to get you. It was neuro-linguistic programming. Basically, they would speed up the music to make you be more productive or shop more or whatever, which is, hey, this is consumerism. You don't like it? Go to Russia. Go buy your groceries from Russia. And it wasn't just Muzak. I'm going to run a brand by Clive here. Hello, Clive. How are you?
Great. How about yourself?
Yep. I'm okay. Clive, you've heard of Muzak, haven't you?
Yes.
Have you heard of the Seeberg? Have you heard of Seeberg?
I have not.
Have you heard of the 3M cantata?
No, I have not.
Okay, they were alternative background music systems you could buy or lease. There was the Seeberg 1000 and there was the 3M cantata 700. But Muzak was probably the most famous. They at one stage they had the biggest impact in the 60s and 70s, and at one stage they provided background music to over 300,000 US locations. And the other thing I want to talk to you about, Clive, is the very, very sad decline of US shopping malls. What is happening? I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately, and I see a lot of malls that are closing down. In Oklahoma, do you have malls that are closing down or ghost towns?
Absolutely.
What? What?
Yeah. Well, the big one, the first one, was over on the south side of Oklahoma City. It was Crossroads Mall. And I remember going there as a kid. And it's all but shut down. It's almost like the super big quinceañera store. They hold it for events like a antique show or something like that, or a gun show, and otherwise it's just people making use of the kiosk.
What was the name of this mall again? Sorry, this was the what mall was this?
Crossroads Mall.
I can't believe it. And it's so it used to be like a big mall. It was open every day before. Now it's yes, actually, I'm just having a look at that. I just Googled it, and you're not far from that. The Crossroads Mall in Oklahoma City. You're not far from that?
No, but I'm a lot closer to the one viable mall we still have left, which is called Penn Square Mall.
So what happened with Crossroads Mall? That was a huge mall.
It was, and one of the first ones.
It was a big mall. That was a huge mall. What don't people need to shop anymore? I mean, that's a beautiful mall. Why would you close that down?
Changing demographics, I think, is part of it.
What?
Or
that's a big. This is a big shopping center. This Crossroads Mall. It ain't no little strip shop. This had restaurants. Why wouldn't they drop the rent if the rent was too high? Like, obviously, a business is in there. They need to survive. Why wouldn't they just drop the rent to keep tenants in? Even if they're paying 50% rent, that's better than paying no rent, isn't it?
Well, and one of the things I seem to remember is that Crossroads Mall is at the intersection of I-35 and I-240. Yeah, and I seem to remember it being a little bit of a hassle to get there from the highways. The traffic control wasn't really good, and eventually another mall would be built, a newer one, and people would go there instead. Penn Square Mall is pretty much the only viable one left, the only larger one, and it has access to I-235, but it still has access to main thoroughfares in the town itself.
I'm just going to bring up a photo of this mall, if you don't mind, because this is really sad stuff. This is Crossroads Mall, Oklahoma. Have a look at this here. This is
Yep.
It had a J.C. Penney there too. You had a J.C. Penney.
I remember that so clearly. I mean, mom and I, two bigger sisters, you know, would be running back and forth just all over the place like Navy SEALs. And Dad and me and my little sister would sit there. Almost, they'd have these little built-in benches, and we, being from a really small town in Oklahoma, no, that's a different mall.
What's a different mall?
Yeah. And being from a really small town in Oklahoma City, going there in the 70s and early 80s, just sitting there and watching, quote unquote, big city people walk through, you know, punk hairdos, you know, Annie Holt wannabes and all this. I mean, just, we were almost enraptured by watching the people, just like, what?
And this is what it's left. Look at this now. It's,
yeah.
What the hell? When did it go down? When did it go down?
Well, I think it started. I mean, keep in mind, I also went to.
Is that sad? Do you think that's sad? I mean, what do you think as a person? Do you think this is sad? A beautiful mall like that is just gone, and its days are numbered. Is that sad, or you don't see the sadness of that?
No, I do. Like I said, I remember there. I remember it's part of childhood. You would go there and go Christmas shopping for Christmas items, you know, September, October, and it part of childhood, really. But you accept it. There is one large viable mall left, Penn Square. There's also Quail Springs.
Now Crossroads Mall. That is actually
Quail Springs is also going down.
Just quickly, I just want to clarify it's actually now called Plaza Mayor at the Crossroads, formerly
Plaza Mayor.
Yeah, Plaza Mayor at the Crossroads, and just looking at the decline in 2001, Montgomery Ward closed its doors due to bankruptcy. All four anchor tenants eventually vacated the mall as a result of the 2008 economic downturn and increased gang activity. You never mentioned gangs.
I never have a chance to mention anything. You keep interrupting.
Your anchor tenants, Dillard's, J.C. Penney, Macy's, and Steve and Barry's. Hello?
Yeah. Okay. Were you going to ask a question and let me answer it, or?
Yeah. What happened to these gangs? Tell me about these gangs, please.
Well, the gangs are still there, though. And in a lot of ways, it's like white flight. That's why I was getting ready to tell you about Quail Springs. That's actually in the far northern part of Oklahoma City, between Oklahoma City and its very affluent northern.
Hello. We seem to have a. What was that? Sorry, we seem to have some technical difficulties here.
Well, Quail Springs is between Oklahoma City and its much more affluent bedroom community, Edmond. But there is, you know, that's in decline, but also because of urban youths and, you know, gang confrontations.
You have gangs in Oklahoma City?
Oh, hell, yes, absolutely we do.
I thought that's the whole point of going there, was to get away from that LA crap.
LA follows. There's also homegrown. I mean, there's homegrown.
Did you know?
You also have. There's also tons of Latino gangs over here. We're just, you know, straight north of Mexico, so they come right up I-35. So you've got Latino gangs. You've got indigenous black gangs, and you know, oh yeah, the Irish mob is making a comeback here, or white hooligans, not to mention white supremacists.
I see. So I just want to, you know, in 2006, there was a young man opened fire in this mall, killing a teen before he was shot by an off-duty sheriff's deputy. Do you remember that?
In 2000 when?
6.
No, but in Crossroads Mall or Penn Square, or which mall are you talking about?
This is the Crossroads Mall.
I don't remember that specifically, but it doesn't surprise me. But even with the one viable mall still left, really, Penn Square, they one of my big complaint about that is pretty much landlocked. They took out a lot of the parking to put in restaurants on the periphery, so instead they put additional parking with an enclosed parking garage. But even with the enclosed parking garage, there's a lot of stories of attempted muggings and kidnappings and sexual assaults. You know, I would jokingly call the enclosed parking garage the rapatorium.
Tell me this: how can a mall? This was such. See, this is what I love about American malls, is that they represent lower middle class values. They represent. Okay. That's where the lower middle class goes to shop. They got to buy clothes for their children. They got to buy diapers. They got to buy candy. They got to buy presents for Father's Day. They got to charge. They got to use that consumer credit. Why the hell are these malls? If these malls are closing, where are they shopping then? Has the population exodus? Like, is the population falling? No, I don't think it is. So where are they shopping? Online?
Online. Absolutely. Amazon.
You're joking, aren't you?
No, absolutely not.
Why couldn't they drop the rents to keep the mall going? Wouldn't that be better or not?
It would, but once you start going down that path, then that might actually speed up the decline. If you lower the rents, then you'll attract lower quality clients. You know, and it seems like for some reason it just almost seems like if a mall has an Apple store, it's going to succeed or it's going to be viable. But if it doesn't have one, good luck.
An Apple
store. It's like
store.
The canary in the coal mine.
That Crossroads Mall was pretty huge. That was a huge mall, Clive. That's not just a...
No, it's not just 4 or 5 stores. But then again, you know, things seem bigger when you're a kid.
It opened in 1974. So that's just when you were a youngster, right? You were a youngster, right? So you would have gone there and knew, wow, let's go to the new exciting mall. We'll go to the mall. It was the largest construction project ever to be taken place in the state of Oklahoma at the time.
Yep.
And it was also among the 10 largest shopping malls in the United States. This ain't no little pissy strip center. This was a big project, right?
Right, but you know, demographics, changing tastes, and
let me just tell you. I'll give you a quote. In 1974, a daily Oklahomian newspaper article, Oklahomian shopping center. They actually said here, just one tick there. Thank you. Just having coffee delivered.
From Pizza Pagoda?
Yeah, he drops it off every day. He drives past, drops it off. Thank you. He spills me.
In a glass container, no less. That's the impressive part.
Yeah, because I prefer it. I think it retains the flavors better. Okay.
Gotcha.
I got to tell you here, Clive, this is a pretty... In 1974, Oklahoman newspaper heralded, listen to this, heralded the shopping mall as the most magnificent enclosed and air-conditioned shopping mall in the Southwest.
Oh, yeah. I can remember they had ones that weren't enclosed. And
they had one
I remember they had smaller ones when I was younger that weren't enclosed, and that was tough.
Yes.
Because, you know, it gets rather hot here in Oklahoma. So a place where everyone could go and just walk around in air-conditioned comfort was almost a marvel of the times.
The mall consisted of 36 stores and services. It also had a large trade zone outside of the mall building itself with numerous retailers, restaurants, including 2 hotels and a movie theater.
Movie theater's still there, AMC, but the mall's not.
Plaza Mayor had been one of the more popular shopping establishments for the city for well over 20 years. It is noted one of the primary reasons for the suburban flight of retail shops from downtown Oklahoma City, which is now beginning to show an increase of retail shops following the Metropolitan Area Projects Plan.
MAPS, yes.
What's MAPS? Sorry, what does that mean?
Metropolitan Area Projects Plan. Basically, they would do bonds and do temporary sales hikes and do it to improve certain aspects of the city. Rebuilding libraries might be one, trying to put in more bike trails. You know, that's redoing the Civic Center, redoing the Convention Center.
Hey, Clive, listen to this. You want a bargain? Let me tell you this, okay? In 2011, the mall was purchased by Raptor Properties for $3.5 million.
Plaza Mayor, I could see that.
Far below the $24 million asking price.
Well, by the way, the Plaza Mayor was the place I was telling you about a couple of weeks ago, where they had a gun show that was selling AR-15s with scopes, for like $400. That's also where I picked up my Watch of Heroes, the A11.
Tell me this. This mall this was a substantial mall. How many other malls? Tell me another mall horror story, please. Tell me another mall horror story. What's the other mall?
Quail Springs Mall. Quail Springs Mall. It was just that's on the way down. It's got a few base tenants still there, but it's not as it should be more popular because it's between between two of them. It's the northern part of Oklahoma City is a little bit more wealthy, and its bedroom community, Edmond, is the snobatorium of the metropolitan. It's they all the rich people, they work in jobs downtown Oklahoma City, and then they go home to Edmond. So theoretically,
what's this mall called? I'm just trying to find it. What's it called?
Quail.
What's the mall called?
I'm telling you, Quail Springs Mall. Quail as in a bird.
Yep. Quail Springs.
Quail, yeah, Springs
Mall. I found it. Okay.
And it's on the decline, but also just reports of like gang clashes, basically.
Where the hell do you get gangs from? You're in the Midwest. You have cowboys. You don't have gangs.
No, there are gangs in Oklahoma City. There are definitely.
You have gangs in Oklahoma City?
Oh yeah. District Attorney actually has a fairly substantial gangs task unit. But basically, if you stay out of their turf.
Macy's is closing down, by the way, at Quail Springs.
Yep.
They moved in 1996. Macy's closed down at Quail's. Well, that's a you lose Macy's. That's a pretty good indicator that things going downhill fast, isn't it?
Well, I actually don't know how long the chain department stores themselves will stay open. They may all be screwed.
Do you have Kmart?
What?
Kmart.
Yeah, barely. Second-rate Walmart. In my little hometown, we didn't have Walmart. We had Kmart.
I see.
Never was fond of it because you would go into Kmart wanting 5 things, and you were lucky to get 2 or 3.
What happened to? Do you have a Walmart in Oklahoma City?
Oh, we got them all over the place in Oklahoma City.
They're growing, but aren't they? Walmarts are growing, aren't they? They're not closing down.
I think they're holding their own. They're probably. I think I remember hearing the last couple of years that earnings were down a little bit.
So the Walmarts are still doing, but see, Walmart doesn't let other tenants exist with him. He just wants his own little thing, doesn't he?
Well, actually, Sam Walton was an Okie, believe it or not.
Is that right?
Yeah, actually, the first Walmart is in Okarche, Oklahoma. Yeah, Okarche, Oklahoma.
Wow. And originally, Sam Walton was actually saying that buy American. He wanted to do this to sell American products. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He tried it. He would try to emphasize it, but you can put all the red, white, and blue flags you can.
But it says made in China. But it says made in China underneath.
But right next to it is made other jeans that are $5 cheaper. Then, good luck. But you know, usually WalMarts are at the end, are in shopping centers anyway, or basically extended strip malls. But
Walmarts, when you have a Walmart, you don't have little shops near it, but do you?
You do. Yeah, you do.
Oh, you do have little shops besides Walmart there.
Yeah, strip mall. Besides the viable mall that's left, that's closest to me is Penn Square Mall, actually a couple of miles. They've got, let's see, a Walmart. Then I can't even think of the whole bunch of stores through there, eateries and everything.
So tell me this, Clive, do you think that's sad? Like Crossroads Mall closed like that? That was so successful. It was one of the biggest biggest construction sites, and it's just now 20 years, 30 years later, well, 40 years later.
40 years later, they keep in mind, and that's something about, I don't know if it's just Okies or Americans in general, we're really big on building things, but we're not that great about maintaining and upkeeping it.
But what's gone wrong? I don't understand this. How could that thing not, I can't believe it's just collapsed now. Like now, all your anchor tenants have moved out.
Well, and partially it's changing demographics. South Oklahoma City is more and more Latino. We've got a very vibrant, thriving Latino community, just evidenced by the fact that it's now called Plaza Mayor or Big Plaza.
I see. So what is the go then as far as these malls go, the future, they're all going to die out, or some are going to die out, some will survive, some will die out. Is that right?
Some will die out. They'll probably build a new one on another area of town, and everyone will go to that.
Don't forget too.
And they also built a large outlet mall just off I-40.
When these malls don't do well, it also hurts the city badly, because what happens is the rates that these shopping centers will pay diminishes.
Mm-hmm.
The services go down. Also, you got to remember all the sales tax that the state would be collecting from products that are sold in these malls. Well, that obviously, if there's no sales, well, there's not going to be paying the sales tax. You also have sewerage, all these jobs. There's so many jobs there. Like you'd have people collecting trolleys. You'd have people working in the stores, store managers. You'd have, night stockers. You'd have security. You would have grounds people. You'd have people working in the mall, keeping the mall going and clean and attractive cleaners. And there are hundreds of jobs that when this mall closes, that are just gone. Those jobs have gone. You know what I'm saying?
And it's even worse if it's a smaller community. For instance,
Oklahoma is not that small, but that's a big town. It's a big state.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Oklahoma City is also ringed by a bunch of bedroom communities. It's all grown together into one big hodgepodge, but it's not all Oklahoma City. The Oklahoma City greater metropolitan area also includes other towns that kind of grew into each other. Bethany, for instance.
Don't you think it's sad? So what's happened to these lower middle class punters? Are they not buying clothes from JCPenney or Macy's now? Where are they going?
They're going to Walmart and Target. The ones with the ones with upper class pretensions are going to Target.
Oh, Target's more classy than Walmart?
The people that go there prefer to call it Target.
Do you have expensive clothes in the city or not really? You have menswear stores, and you do have that as well, don't you?
Yeah, so far. I mean, and so far it's basically, I guess, Dillard's at the two malls that are still remaining. J.C. Penney's. I mean, sorry, and J.C. Penney's as well at Penn Square Mall and Quail Springs Mall. Quail Springs Mall is just barely holding in there.
And also, car dealerships would be going in decline in Oklahoma as well, wouldn't they? Have car dealerships closed?
No, actually, car dealerships. What happens is they're usually some of the first people out there. They build along undeveloped areas, but then the town expands around them. They can't expand anymore, or they can't rebuild. So they'll just shut the car dealerships down, build another one further out on the highway, and open up the new one.
Yeah, and make a lot of money on the land.
I don't know I don't know. Unsure about that.
I mean, let's be honest there. What is this plaza, this Crossroads mall worth if you've got no tenants and there's no business going on? It's worthless.
Yeah. And let me put it this way. The problem was not really the increased Latino population on the south side. The problem was white flight.
What's that?
White flight.
What's the hell is this?
Well, basically, once an area becomes too ethnic, the middle-class whites say, see ya. I'm not going to go here.
Flight.
Yeah, so it's just... so that Quail Springs, it's just like word. Oh my God, did you hear there was another gang-related shooting in Quail Springs or Crossroads Mall? Or it could be,
so what does this mean? These malls that are closing down, do you see this as sad, or not? Do you see this your society that you loved as a kid is all collapsing? Do you see this or not?
Everything's changed since I was a kid. Change is part of life. You either change or you die. You know, do I remember Crossroads Mall very fondly when I was a kid? Yeah. But it doesn't mean it's not like the pyramids or anything.
It is. It's the same as the pyramids. This is America. America is new.
Well,
this is when.
And it's new, and it's new, but that's part of the thing is then they.
This is the same time. This is the same period of time that was born in that mall was built in 1974. The Boeing 747 jumbo jet came out in the late 60s, early 70s. This is the same time America was great.
I don't think America is any less great. We're just a different America than what we were 40 years ago. You know, the Tao is, what is it? The Tao is saying you cannot cross this same river twice. You cannot cross the same river once. Everything is in a process of change.
I see. It's just so sad. Sad there.
Yeah, true. I mean, but what good has nostalgia ever done, really? Wishing for the past. You can't wish back time.
I just can't believe how America is just going in. Is it really collapsing or it's changing?
It's changing. It's changing. Like I said, there is no shortage of, the only thing there's a shortage of at Penn Square Mall is parking spaces, assuming you don't want to park at the Rapatorium.
So the Walmart itself there, that's still popular, isn't it, or not?
Yes, very much so. And partially Walmart is part of the decline of the shopping mall. The shopping mall was more premium, I guess, priced goods. You know, if you're middle class or lower middle class, you go to the malls only during the sales. And partially that is because of the rent was so high, expenses were so high.
I see. I find it sad.
The economic model's changed.
See, in my country, our malls, we haven't closed. We don't have huge malls that are closing down in Australia. There's been a few, but not many. We we look up to these malls.
Well, and we still look up to malls. We just build new ones and go there. There's a lot of smaller malls that existed before Quail Springs that have been repurposed into office complexes or all sorts of things.
Yeah, I just find it very sad, Clive. That's all I got to say to you. I find it very, very sad, and let our thoughts be with the Cross Springs Mall. That's very, very, very sad there, Clive.
Oh yeah, I still have a twinge of nostalgia every time I drive across and I look over and see Crossroads Mall. And I think about all the good thing about being a kid. To me, Crossroads Mall, we would drive in 2 hours from Clinton to Oklahoma City, and it took 2 hours because the speed limit was 55 miles per hour. So it took a while. And
that's
drive
in
the city.
Studebaker. That was in the Studebaker.
No, that was in the I seem to remember the Monte Carlo.
Okay.
But I'm not the same as 1974. The city is and the country's not. Things change.
We had Nixon in the White House then.
For a little bit, yeah.
Things were looking much better in those days, weren't they?
No, there was problems, concerns even back then. Inflation. You'd always hear about inflation.
And you had the oil crisis. Remember, oil was so scarce that was going to run out. Gee, that turned out. Look at the price of oil today.
All the Saudis have to do is turn the tap back again, and it'll go right back up. So, things change.
Remember that we were going to run out of oil? Remember that?
Well, oil is a finite resource, so eventually we are.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have enough sense. Hopefully we'll have enough sense to find something else we can use in the meanwhile.
Thank you so much there, Clive. I really, really appreciate it. We're going to do another live show. I want you on. You gonna join in?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. We're tackling some important issues today. Thank you.
Bye.